The Young and the Restless spoilers the murder of Heather and the shadow of suspicion. Is Phyllis the true mastermind? In the quiet, bustling town of Genoa City, secrets are currency, and deception is an art form. The tragic murder of Heather has cast a dark shadow over the community, leaving its residents embroiled in a web of suspicion, lies, and unanswered questions. At the center of this chaos are two women, Phyllis and Sharon, locked in a battle not only for survival but also for the truth. As the evidence unfolds, the question lingers: is Phyllis the true killer? Phyllis's obsession with Sharon from the start. Phyllis has been relentless in pointing the finger at Sharon, claiming she is the one who murdered Heather. Her accusations are loud, calculated, and insistent, making it seem as though Sharon is the only logical suspect. But why is Phyllis so determined to incriminate Sharon? On the surface, it appears that Phyllis's crusade for justice stems from a desire to uncover the truth. However, her intensity raises suspicions. Could it be that Phyllis is attempting to divert attention away from herself? Her behavior suggests she is less concerned about justice and more focused on ensuring Sharon takes the fall. Jordan and Ian Ward's silence adding to the complexity are Jordan and Ian Ward, two figures who remain conspicuously silent on the matter. Their lack of input raises eyebrows. Do they know more than they are letting on, or are they genuinely in the dark about Heather's killer? Their silence leaves a vacuum, one that Phyllis seems all too eager to fill with her version of events. But if neither Jordan nor Ian can confirm Sharon's involvement, how credible are Phyllis's accusations? It's possible they, too, are caught in the manipulative web Phyllis has spun, unsure of who to trust or what to believe. Phyllis's dark motive. A chilling possibility emerges. Phyllis may be the one who murdered Heather and is now orchestrating a calculated plot to frame Sharon. Her actions suggest a meticulous effort to create the perfect trap, complete with a scapegoat who conveniently fits the narrative she wants to sell. Witnesses recall seeing a figure wearing black gloves, strikingly similar to the ones Phyllis is known to own. This figure reportedly attacked Sharon, leaving her unconscious. Could this be Phyllis herself, staging the scene to ensure Sharon appears guilty? The gloves, the timing, the aggression, it all points back to Phyllis. Sharon's memories. The turning point. Sharon's recent decision to undergo hypnosis to recover suppressed memories has thrown a wrench into Phyllis's plans. As Sharon begins to piece together the fragments of that fateful night, Phyllis's anxiety becomes palpable. She appears desperate to derail Sharon's progress, attempting to discredit the process and interfere with the investigation. Her fear is telling. If Sharon's memories resurface, they could expose the truth and unravel the carefully constructed facade Phyllis has built. For someone who claims to be an innocent bystander seeking justice, Phyllis's actions suggest otherwise. Her desperation reveals a woman on the edge, terrified of being exposed. A mask of sorrow. Phyllis's public demeanor is another piece of the puzzle. She presents herself as a grieving, tormented soul, overwhelmed by the tragedy of Heather's death. Yet, her performance feels contrived, as if she is playing a part rather than genuinely mourning. The true victim of this ordeal is Sharon, who has been forced to bear the weight of Phyllis's accusations and the scrutiny of the entire town. While Sharon suffers in silence, Phyllis uses her supposed grief as a shield, masking her own culpability. Phyllis, a pattern of malice. Phyllis's history is riddled with manipulation and deceit. She has long been known as someone who will stop at nothing to get what she wants, often at the expense of others. Her reputation as a schemer makes it difficult to believe her claims of innocence. Time and again, she has demonstrated a willingness to cross moral lines, leaving a trail of broken lives in her wake. Her actions in the aftermath of Heather's murder fit this pattern. From framing Sharon to attempting to sabotage the hypnosis, Phyllis appears to be orchestrating events to suit her narrative, all while maintaining her image as the wounded victim. The evidence against Phyllis. The black gloves. Multiple witnesses recall a figure wearing black gloves attacking Sharon. Phyllis's connection to these gloves is too significant to ignore. Behavioral clues. Phyllis's obsessive focus on Sharon and her attempts to derail the investigation suggest she has something to hide. A history of scheming. Phyllis's past is filled with instances of manipulation, lending credibility to the theory that she is framing Sharon. The final question: if Phyllis is indeed the killer, her motives likely run deeper than mere jealousy or hatred. Was Heather a threat to a larger secret Phyllis was protecting? Or did Heather stumble upon something that could expose Phyllis's true nature? The answers lie buried beneath layers of deceit, waiting to be uncovered. In Genoa City, the truth has a way of surfacing, no matter how deeply it is buried. As Sharon fights to reclaim her life and clear her name, the walls are closing in on Phyllis. The question remains, how far is Phyllis willing to go to protect herself? And when the dust settles, will justice prevail, or will Phyllis succeed in her sinister game? The battle for the truth has only just begun. The room was silent, heavy with tension, as Sharon's voice trembled while recounting her hypnosis session. For days, she had wrestled with the fragments of memories buried deep within her subconscious. Now, she had seen it. An image of the figure who had attacked her on the night Heather was murdered. Though still cloaked in shadows, the presence was unmistakable. Someone was there that night. Someone who wanted her silenced. A moment of joy and doubt as Faith and Mariah embraced their mother tightly, tears of relief streamed down their faces. "We always believed in you, Mom," Faith whispered, her voice choked with emotion. Mariah nodded, her arms wrapped protectively around Sharon. "You're innocent. And soon, everyone will know it." But the celebration was short-lived. Standing nearby, Detective Chance Chancellor cleared his throat, his expression stern. "This is a good start," he said, his tone measured, "but it's not enough. Memory recovery through hypnosis isn't solid evidence in court. We'll need more to clear Sharon's name completely, and to find the real killer." His words sent a chill through the room. For Sharon, the nightmare wasn't over yet. Though her daughter's support gave her strength, she knew that proving her innocence required uncovering the truth about who had murdered Heather, and why. The shadow of doubt Chance's attention turned to Phyllis, who had been conspicuously quiet in recent days. Her usual sharp tongue and quick wit had been replaced by an eerie calm, as though she were biding her time. It wasn't lost on him that Phyllis had been the most vocal accuser of Sharon from the beginning. Her insistence that Sharon was guilty felt almost too forceful, as if she were trying to deflect attention away from herself. "What's your angle, Phyllis?" Chance muttered under his breath as he observed her from across the room. Phyllis's behavior didn't sit right with him. Her history of manipulation and her tendency to thrive on chaos made her a person of interest in the investigation. But so far, there was no concrete evidence linking her to Heather's murder. Still, Chance knew better than to ignore his instincts. A warning from Chance later that evening, Chance pulled Sharon aside. His voice was low, but his words were firm. "Sharon, you've made progress. But you need to understand something, until we find the actual killer, you're still on thin ice. The suspicion may shift, but it's not gone. You and your family need to stay cautious." Sharon nodded, her eyes filled with determination. "I understand. I want this to be over. I want my life back." Chance softened slightly, offering a small nod. "And we'll get there. But it's going to take hard evidence. We need to figure out who that figure in your memory was, and why they were there." Phyllis, the perfect suspect? Phyllis's every move was now under Chance's scrutiny. Her calm demeanor, once mistaken for confidence, now seemed like calculated control. What was she hiding? Why had she been so relentless in pointing the finger at Sharon? Chance began digging into her alibi for the night of Heather's murder. On the surface, her story seemed airtight. She had been at home, claiming to have no knowledge of Heather's movements. But there were inconsistencies, small cracks in her timeline that begged for further investigation. One detail stood out: the gloves. Sharon had mentioned seeing black gloves on her attacker in her hypnotic memory. It was a minor detail, but Chance couldn't ignore the possibility that Phyllis might have owned a similar pair. If Phyllis was involved, her motive would need to be clear. Did Heather know something about her? Was Phyllis trying to protect a secret, or was she simply framing Sharon out of malice? The road to truth. As the investigation continued, Sharon's resolve grew stronger. She knew that proving her innocence required not only clearing her name but also uncovering the truth about Heather's killer. With her daughters and Chance by her side, she felt a renewed sense of hope, even as the challenges ahead loomed large. Phyllis, meanwhile, remained an enigma. To the outside world, she projected an image of concern and sorrow, but those closest to the case began to see through her facade. Chance's instincts told him that she wasn't as innocent as she claimed, and he was determined to uncover her true role in the events of that fateful night. The pieces of the puzzle were slowly coming together. Sharon's memories, though incomplete, provided a crucial lead. But the path to justice would be fraught with twists and turns, as secrets long buried began to surface.